It being the Shahadat of Imam Ali Rida alayhi salam, according to one history. So, inshallah, I will dedicate some time in this speech to Imam Rida and speak about that also. One of the things in regards to religion and approaching religion, especially religion that's divine, religion that is sent by Allah, by God, is structured in a way that every aspect of it is full of wisdom and reason. Nothing is haphazard. Nothing is by accident. You know, it has to be well thought of, because the one who structured it, the one who made it, you know, it's not someone who does haphazard things. You know, and hence it has to be structured. It has to be something that is completely and absolutely, perfectly made for our guidance and our salvation. It cannot be something that's just there and you know what, then we will add 2 cents to it also. There's no room for us to add 2 cents to God's religion. You add 2 cents when something is incomplete. Right? When it's complete, there's no need for me to go and add my 2 cents to something that's absolutely perfect. You know, and if I'm trying to do that, that means that there's something wrong with me, that I think that this is imperfect. In what way it's imperfect? And hence, everything that has to do with religion is well designed. Now, it's our fault that we haven't learned to understand it deeply. We don't look at things in the way that it should be looked at, and we don't see religion in a very deep sense as to what is being said here. We take things very superficially. And because of that shallow viewpoint that we have, we fail to understand many important things in religion, and we take them very lightly. This is the way it is with everyone. That's why you hear these topics and issues being raised by people, followers, mu'mineen, that are so incredibly shallow that you look at and say that is this an issue that we should be discussing and wasting our time on? But a lot of people think it's a very important issue. And we need to now look deeper into things as to what is religion and how things are. For example, when you look at the tragedy of Imam Hussein in Karbala, when you look at this issue, now when I ask you, for example, the lesson of this tragedy, or many lessons of the tragedy, or whatever it is, and it's been emphasized in religion, no doubt. Every occasion that we have, we are asked to think about Imam Hussein, to read Ziyarat of Imam Hussein. Isn't that true? It is true. On Eid also, we are reading Ziyarat of Imam Hussein. On 15th Shaban, we are reading the Ziyarat of Imam Hussein. On every occasion, we are told to go back to Hussein and take your reference there. So, why is it that it's being said there? So, all of us are being told to go there. Now tell me, in this situation that we have, that we always are told to refer to Imam Hussein, why is that? Why do we go back to that? Now, keep that in mind, now let's look at Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein taught us Islam in Karbala, right? He taught us Islam in Karbala. Now my question is this: did he teach us some Islam in Karbala, or did he teach us everything in Islam in Karbala? Everything that a person has to know, did Imam Hussein teach that or no? Only some aspects he taught us there. So when we look at that, we see that the reason Imam Hussein is being emphasized is because in no other Imam's time, no other time of any of the Imam was truth and falsehood, had truth and falsehood found so much clarity. This is truth, this is falsehood, there was no doubt in it. You know, I mean, okay, you see that one side is killing infants. Now, in which mind, in which logic, in which culture would that be okay? There has to be something wrong. You cannot say that was right also. Admit that was wrong. It was so clear which side is wrong. There was no doubt about it. So now, no other time in history of the Imams was there such a clear lens of seeing the truth. So, did Imam Hussein use that lens to teach us all of Islam? Or did he say, okay, you know what, I'll teach you a few lessons here, and then you can go back to those times where it was unclear that is Imam Ali right or is Muawiyah right? People were confused. They viewed Imam Ali as more of a extremist. Extremist, he doesn't listen to anyone, he's hard-headed, that's the way it is. They viewed Muawiyah as more of a diplomat. He's able to work with people, you can make deal with him, you know, and he can bring people together. So Imam Ali divided people, Muawiyah united people, and hence that's what you saw in their rule also. 4 years, Imam Ali at war for 4 years, Muawiyah, 20 years of peace in the Muslim world. Now who would you say that, okay, I mean, logically, this guy, his rule has united Muslims and has been prosperous, no war, nothing like that in the Muslim world. So you see this, people were confused. People were confused. So for Imam Ali to say anything or teach anything, there would be a shadow of doubt in his statements. How would you know the truth? So this is why Imam Hussein, the time that he had was the most clearest time to teach Islam. And now the question is, did he teach everything in Islam? So if I ask you, if you agree with me, that yes, he taught everything in Islam, then why is it that in the majalis, we only learn about 1 or 2, 3 or 4 lessons? And now those lessons are so popular that everyone just wants to repeat those lessons. Repeat those lessons. And they think that, and if you veer off those lessons and try to explore into deeper things, then you're like, you know, this is not a majlis. Why is that? It's because, you see, we do not explore deeply into religion, into things. Just Karbala itself. Everything has been taught in Karbala. We just need to know those things. How to look at those things. So, just a point I'm making in regards to us having a deeper understanding of deen, of anything, even about our imams. It's very important. We are here in Karbala. Karbala raises our awareness and our ability to understand. It raises that. So hence we need to use that to learn. Now, when we look at the lives of the Imams, it's the same way. The Imams were never understood in their times. In their time, they were always ahead of their times. So the people at their time never understood the Imams. You know, the Imams would say something and they would have no clue what the Imams are saying. Or they wouldn't know how to understand it. And this is the problem with many of the Imams. In fact, every divine leader that came and showed the people their future, people said, you know, I mean, he's talking fantasy. You know, but that's the way it is. Look at everyone who came. People could not tolerate it. Look at every prophet that came. People could not tolerate them. One, obviously they changed the ignorance of it. They wanted to end the ignorance of their time. And second thing is that they want to show the truth of the future, which people were not ready to accept. And then they ended up killing them or trying to kill them. That's what they do. People do that, and because of that shallow understanding, we don't want to fall in that group of people. That if a prophet comes or if an imam comes, that we are the people that say, oh, you know what? I stand against you and, I'll plot to kill you. We don't want to be that sort of people. We want to be deeper people who understand things better. And that's why it's important for us to look at things in the right way. Look at the imams in the right way. Let's say the salawats. Now every imam had lived in a different time, and hence he had a different role and achieved a different achievement. Every imam is known for different things. Imam Ali, of course, is an exception because he was the part of the whole of Islam and the growth of Islam, so he's involved in every aspect of Islam. But for example, Imam Hassan, if you look at the life of Imam Hassan, what was the life of Imam Hassan? I mean, what was that one achievement that is known about his life? You all should know, you hear Majalis all the time. What is it and one thing that Imam Hassan did that is known about Imam Hassan? The treaty with Muawiyah, thank you. That was an achievement of his life. I mean, that's what he's known as. Sulh Imam Hassan is what he's known for, right? Great. Okay, then what is Imam Hussein known for in his life? Karbala, Ashura, very good. How many of us know about Imam Hussein before Karbala? I mean, what did he used to do? What was his business? Who was he? Who did he used to hang out with? What kind of people? He had. What kind of a personality was he? We have any idea about that? We just know about what happened in Karbala. You see, a lot of things we don't know, but certain achievement Imam Hussein, that's it. The little we know, obviously, we fall in love with them. That's something else. Just as a statement, I want to just say this, right? Sometimes, I also felt guilty, and I'm sure many Shias feel guilty, that when they look at all the Imams, they see that they are a little bit more in love with Hussein than the other Imams. I mean, I don't know about you, but this is how, I felt that, there's a special attachment that we have with Hussein. I think that this is with all Shias. They have a special attachment with Hussein. Everyone else is, obviously our Imam, and we know that. But for Imam Hussein, we have a special attachment. And sometimes it makes us feel guilty. A person went to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. And he asked Imam Sadiq that, I love you and I respect you, and I know your position. I have it in my heart. He was a Shia. He said, but I can't help it. I have a very special attachment with your grandfather Hussein. He's like very deep in my heart. I have this special attachment with him, this bond with him that I don't have with you. Is there something wrong with me? That's what he was asking. Is there something wrong with me for me to do that? That having this special attachment with Hussein, not with you. You know what the Imam said? The Imam said, this is not just your issue. We Ahlul Bayt also have a special attachment with Hussein that we don't have with anyone else. This is us also, that we love Hussein in a different way. So who are we that we are unable to handle this? Even Ahlul Bayt are unable to handle this love of Hussein. Hussein is different when you see this. That's why he has entered into our hearts. Allah has made him such that he entered into our hearts like that. We don't know Imam Hussein that well. We don't know him that well, but just the little we know, we just don't know how to deal with it. And this is why it's important for us to think deeply about the things that have been achieved. Every Imam has his achievement that Allah in His time He had to make in order to establish a tenet, a part of religion. So now when we come to, for example, Imam Rida alayhi salam, what is that thing in his life that he achieved or did that became the cornerstone of his lifetime? What did Imam Rida do? That, made him this. You all know the history of Imam Rida. What is that one thing that Imam Rida did that you can say that this was what Imam Rida did in his life? I mean, it's a question. You all know that. The one thing that Imam Rida did that was, his achievement was his migration to Khurasan. He was taken from Medina and he was taken to Khurasan. Right? He was taken to Khurasan. That was the achievement of Imam Rida. Allah wanted this to happen. Now obviously at that time, Shias were not that smart, and didn't know how to deal with this. Didn't know how to deal with this. When he was being taken from Medina to Khurasan, what happened? That the Shias, they thought that this is a disgrace to Ahlul Bayt, that he is disrespecting his ancestors, and that before he reaches Khurasan, he needs to be killed. So the Shias plotted to assassinate Imam Rida. They plotted to assassinate Imam Rida to save the name of Ahlul Bayt. Because here Imam Rida is he's going to be working under an oppressor and a tyrant, which goes completely against what his ancestors stood for, Imam Hussein stood for. And hence they decided to go and kill Imam Rida, and Mamun Rashid sent out soldiers to protect Imam Rida from being assassinated by Shias. So Mamun Rashid had bodyguards assigned to Imam Rida, so he's not hurt by these lunatics. And these lunatics are coming after Imam Rida. And so this is why shallow understanding of religion has its effect. I mean, your Imam is going there. You don't think he has a better understanding than you? You don't think that he's braver than you are? More courageous than you are? No, it's not, right? So what happens is that he was being taken over there. Now Imam Rida, my friends, what did he achieve in this move? What happened? Some things we don't understand at the time it happened. Some things we understand centuries after that. There are two things that Imam Rida did in this move that happened naturally after this move. Number one, what Imam Rida did, the first thing Imam Rida did was that by this move, he made the name of Ahlul Bayt popular. Before Imam Rida, no one knew who Ahlul Bayt are. No one. They used to know at the time of Abu Bakr and Umar. But at the time of Harun Rashid, no one knew who Ahlul Bayt are. Who are Ahlul Bayt? No one knew. They had no clue. They had no clue what are Ahlul Bayt. Who are Ahlul Bayt? So, when you speak about Ahlul Bayt, they're like, what are you talking about Ahlul Bayt? No one knew that. And this is the reason, the first thing Imam Rida did is that by becoming a public figure, now everyone looked at him and said, who is he? He's the grandson of the Prophet. Everyone's like, Prophet had children? The Prophet had children? He's the grandson of the Prophet? What are you talking about? Yes, he has children. And there's a family that he has. And it exists here. You see, everyone in the world started recognizing Ahlul Bayt. That's the first thing Allah wanted to happen to Imam Rida. He wanted Ahlul Bayt to be known by everyone. So when Ahlul Bayt are known, at least they'll go and find out their history and know where the rightful divine inspiration lies in this world. They can find that out. So now Imam Raza did that the first thing. The second thing that happened with Imam Raza's move here, which we did not know at that time, centuries passed and then we got to know this. You know what that was? It's really interesting to know this. What Imam Raza did by moving to Khurasan is that he made a base for Shia Islam outside of the Arab world. Outside the Arab world that had an animosity towards the Prophet, towards Rasulullah. And his family, they had an animosity. The reason they had animosity is because he changed their way of life. He changed their customs. He changed their guards into this one guard. They still bear animosity. They still bear that animosity. And so, Allah wanted to have a base outside of the Arab world where everyone can learn Islam without any bias. And this is now we see that right now in Iran, in Khurasan and Mashhad, you see is where that base became for Shia Islam. A base became there. Allah wanted this to happen. Because this would keep Islam safe and unobscured from the animosities of these people that are doing this one. That want to destroy Ahlul Bayt. So you see, these achievements are made through this move. When we start thinking, we get to know these things more. Subhanallah. My friends, love of Ahlul Bayt. I said about Imam Raza, I just want to say these things so that you know about Imam Raza a little bit, that when we remember him, we should know who he is, what he did in his life. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You know, my friends, again, I want to get back to our topic of love, right? Love having its own requirements and things. That's it. You have come a long way from Najaf to here, right? Now, some of you actually did walk the whole way, and some of you walked partially, but you did experience to walk, and you did experience some tiredness. You did experience some discomfort. You did experience all of these things right now in your heart. As a sign to see if our love exists or not. Let me ask a question that might be more offensive. You can ask yourself this, but it's a real question. Can we now say, right now when we're tired, and after we did all this walk for Imam Hussein, can we now say that I've had enough? Let me, let's go back. Ask yourself this question. Why don't you want to say that you had enough? Look deeply into your love. We get tired, we get exhausted, we get, this pain. Do we want to quit now? There's an easy way out. But maintaining yourself here requires you to just look into your heart and say that, you see, to say that Hussein, if I leave you right now, how will I face your mother? How will I face Rasulullah that you left my son? That's all you came here? That's all you can handle? It's not easy, my friends, to stand with Hussein. But this love that we have questions that. Are you going to stand with him? Are you going to be with him? This is what pushes us towards greatness. It is said that when Imam Hussein was being slaughtered, in the heavens, what was happening on earth is different. In the heavens, what happened is that there was a scene where Allah called all the dwellers of the heavens to come and to take a look at this sacrifice. Just take a look at this sacrifice. See, something that, is deserving to be called sacrifice. Someone that is so selfless that it is like absolutely perfect. And Allah prides himself on that. And he called all the prophets, all the dwellers of heaven, and said, take a look at this. And when the sword was striking the head of Imam Hussein, amongst the dwellers of heaven, they couldn't handle it. They turned their face around. They could not see this. They could not see what was happening. They looked at this and they said, we can't take it. All of them started turning their faces. They could not see it. Moses said, I cannot handle it anymore. I can't take this. Jesus said the same thing. I couldn't take it. Everyone turned their face and they could not handle this sacrifice that was being made. Everyone turned their face except for one person, and that was Fatima al-Zahra. Fatima refused to turn her face. Said, Hussein, I'm not going to leave you, Hussein. I'm with you, my son. With every blow that you have, I'm here to comfort you. Inshallah, feel yourself in the presence of Karbala now. We are in Karbala. Karbala should be different. The way we walk here, the way we deal with others. It is said that Imams have said, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, he said that he heard people that come for the ziyarat of Hussein are eating lavish foods. He said, would they do that if their father had died? There's some adab here, there's some etiquette here to maintain ourselves. Be careful not to indulge yourself. There might be lots of food and all that, but be careful how you indulge yourself. This is a sign of your faith. I was saying, how can I do this to you? Just one thing I will mention, ziyarat, what does ziyarat mean? Some people have marifat. That's why, for example, you'll see them in the hotel and they never go to the haram. It's not because they don't like to go to the haram. They have a different marifat. They have a different understanding of things. A person came to Karbala a long time ago, and he had a place that he rented a room from someone, and he stayed there for weeks. And every day he would go on top of the roof and make ziyarat and go back into his room. He would go and cry and make ziyarat and go back into his room. The landlord came up to that person and said, why aren't you going for ziyarat? Did you go for ziyarat? He said, no. Well, why did you go for ziyarat? He said, I don't want to go. What's wrong with you? You don't want to go. You came all the way to Karbala and you don't want to go to the haram. So, he asked the alim, who was scholar, who was in the neighborhood, to come and speak to this guy. Maybe something is wrong with him. I explained to him the importance of that ziyarat. So the alim came and spoke to him and said, this ziyarat is there, and this is the reward, these are the ajrs standing in the gumbat of Imam Hussein, the dome, how many prayers are answered, and started reading all these things for him, and he insisted that you should go. So the person was like, okay, if you insist, but I don't want to go. But he said, I'll go. So the next day he took ghusl, and he was on his way. He stepped out of his home, and they said this is the way towards the shrine, and he started walking. And as soon as he started walking, you'll see this person, he would stall, cry, and then he would walk a few more steps, he would cry, to such an extent that he had to hold himself against the walls.
No.
And he was holding the walls while he was going forward, crying so much, he couldn't handle it. And then, after a while, he couldn't even stand up. He fell to his knees. He fell to his knees. He fell down to the ground and started crawling and crying until he came to a point where he saw the dome of Imam Hussein's haram. When he saw the dome, then he couldn't handle it. He said, Hussein, the people on that day, they saw this person just crawling on the ground, crying and crying. They didn't know what he was thinking, what was wrong with him. They were just passing him by, looking at him. He just kept on going until he came inside. First time he's in the haram of Imam Hussein. The first time, he doesn't know where anything is. He just comes to a point where someone says that this is the place where Hussein was killed. When he heard that, that was enough for him. When he just looked at that place, he said, Hussein, you were killed here. And in one swoon, he just screamed out loud and fell to the ground. They came to him to see what's wrong, and they saw that he's dead. For some people, they cannot handle the fact that they're next to Hussein, to see that Hussein, you were killed here. My friend, this is ziyarat, my friend. When you want to do ziyarat, know that this is where Hussein was killed. You know what happened when you just think of that. How can we just walk by there and not know, not have that in our hearts? These steps that you take to the haram, this is your ziyarat. What do you feel there? You know where you're going. You know where you are. This is where your marifat needs to come to now. This is a different land. This is a different place. You'll see this everyone here and there. Just the thought makes them cry. They're sitting on the streets and crying. Why is that? Because this is a different place. This is what enters our hearts. So keep that in your mind when you're here. Ziyarat gets its value in this regard. You all, when you are making your ziyarat, get your value from here. What you need to be doing here. So this is my advice to you, the Imam's advice to us. To keep yourself aware the days that we are here, that we are, even if we are doing things that are not related to ziyarat, but we do it with that ma'rifat, that understanding, that realization. Do it with that. Even if you are doing shopping, it doesn't matter, but do it with that. You know, really, I don't know, I mean, akhlaq and what akhlaq we have here in Karbala. You know, you came here for Hussein, you're the guest of Hussein, you go to someone, you say, I want to buy this, or whatever it is. He says it's this many dinar, whatever it is. You know, this is Hussein's way. And this is a Shia of Hussein's way. He says, you ask for this much, I'll give you a little bit more, please take it. This is from Hussein, I'm buying this. Remember that. This is the way of doing things here. It's different. You know, trying to bargain with these things. This is not the way. And if you think that this is Hussein is watching you, will you be doing this here? There's different ways of doing things here. Have that ma'rifat and you'll see your action. It will have an impact on your actions. Have that realization, it will have an impact on your actions. Don't you want to give something for Hussein more than what's there? Really, Hussein gave everything for you. He gave everything for you. And hence, when we are here, we remind people, this is from Hussein, I'm giving this to you. This is from the barakat of Hussein, I'm giving it to you, not me. You know, who am I? And hence, this is where it counts, my friends. Having that marifat in everything you do here in Karbala. Keep that as the mode of your ziyarat, of your stay here in Karbala. Keep that as your mode of stay here. Inshallah, may Allah accept your amal, your du'as. You know, if you see other people, maybe at that moment not having that realization, sometimes they're laughing too much or these things are much, it's okay, you know, because all these are Shias. The moment they realize and that thought enters their mind, what happens here? You'll see that laughter will go away and they'll start crying. Sometimes we forget, sometimes we don't realize. It's okay. Don't look at them in a bad view. Don't think that they are bad. They're not bad. You know, all these kids out here who are like probably joking around and all that, you see, when they go to a bus, they all start crying. It's different, my friends, so don't think that they're bad. It's that we're not aware all the time, and we want to be aware all the time. These are things about this ziyarat I just want to give to you, so that you spend the time correctly here. Don't have wrong ideas about others. Look at them, they're laughing. Look at them. No, alhamdulillah. You know, they came here for Hussein's love. They came here for Hussein's love. Bibi Fatima brought them here. You know? So whatever they're going through, you know, that's it. You go forward. You do your thing. Don't get distracted. You keep your heart where it belongs and you go forward. And inshallah, I ask Allah to make our ziyarat successful and to give us that marifat and that realization in our heart so that we can go to Hussein and go to Fatima and give her condolences in the best way possible. Allah, we ask you to give us tawfiq to be on the right paths, wisdom to understand your guidance, taste in the reappearance of Imam, make us his helper when he comes. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ya Hussein.
Hussein.